Hello and welcome back to Reeling in the Peers, where we chat about and discuss all sorts of movies. My name is Gary O'Brien, and with me as always for the monthly movie awards, it's David Scanlon as we present our April 2022 accolades, so stick around, we hope you enjoy. I've got nothing for this.
No, but like it's... Alright people, it's April.
It's April, and you know what that means. More movies. That's all I got.
I mean, like, April's the type of month where it's always that in between. I feel like you're not in the. See, well, March has become big. I think since like Civil War and stuff, like in 2016, where like
not the 19, not the 17,
the 17,
yeah, not that. But, March is heating up down south.
But yeah, in the last little while, I think April's that kind of in between month where like studios aren't bringing out their big tentpoles before the summer, and it's just kind of you know.
It's also the same of like, do you bring a jumper with you when you go out?
I know, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or you bring a jacket to work, but you know by afternoon you're sweating. Yeah.
Madness.
You just don't know.
It's like, will I watch Operation Mincemeat? Exactly. And when I'm leaving, will I want to jump off a bridge?
That's a little sneak peek.
Little tidbit. Right, let's get up top. Letterboxd. Get on it.
Yeah.
Me and David have profiles on it. We put up all the scores. I also like our ratings, reviews. I also put them up on the Instagram.
Yeah, like I'm gonna call people out. Why haven't you been following us? Why haven't you been liking our reviews?
We need validation. More validation than this already gives us. Yeah. We need more. Get on the Letterboxd.
5 stars, of course, on Apple or
Spotify.
Sorry,
give us 5 stars. I don't know what it does. We get no money, no acclaim, nothing. I just want it.
Yeah.
Some people have been doing it. So
that's nice. That's nice.
What else? Instagram at Reeling in the Peers.
This is funny. We're giving them the homework before the class.
Yeah, it's great. You gotta come prepared.
Yeah.
It's like, David, they might not make it to the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember, like I noticed this steep drop off after my cheaper by the dozen rant.
Yeah, of course.
So
that wasn't the highlight, no?
Well, my mother didn't seem to think so.
But
anyway, what else? We're talking about 10 movies that came out in April 2022. There's time codes if you want to jump around. We're presenting them our monthly movie awards, which is Movie of the Month, Poovie of the Month, the Pierce Brosnan Award for Excellence in Acting, the Pierce Brosnan Award for Incompetence in Acting, the Hidden Gem, and Visible Garbage. So
6 awards, is it?
6 awards, yeah.
Yeah, 6 awards.
Although you should have seen me mid-month. I was like, maybe if I had another one. I was like, no, have the same number for at least 2 months, Gary.
Focus.
Yeah.
This podcast. This podcast fucking format has changed so much since January, like, so we just need to focus on it.
Stay focused.
Yeah.
Don't add an award.
Yeah.
For Jim Carrey. Biggest chuckle. Nah, what am I calling? That'd be called the Chuckle Brothers Award.
Yeah.
No, focus. Right, so the movies we're talking about: Sonic 2, The Bubble, Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, The Outfit, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, The Lost City, Apollo 10.5, The Bad Guys, Operation Mincemeat, and The Northman.
Anyway, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Just 10, yeah.
Sorry, because I watched them all out of sync, so yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I watched them. Sorry,
yeah. Oh wait, did you mention the unbearable weight of massive talent?
I think I did.
Okay, sorry.
If I didn't, we did there.
Yeah.
Right, we're gonna and then so we're not gonna start with movie of the month because that's always the big reveal.
The big reveal at the end.
But I thought a good way to start us off would be best actor because there was some really good performances this month, David.
Yeah.
What was your? I don't know why. Unlike what you have to say, David, saying there was a lot of bad performance. No.
Do you have these written out, or do I just throw in what I was
just kind of going to see which one was like came to your mind first, and then you know, if you didn't have one, just what comes to mind. What was a good performance in April?
I was going to say Alexander Skarsgård, but I know you didn't like that movie.
I didn't like that movie. I was very tired. We could talk about the Northman a bit. We could talk about the performance of the. Where is he from? Sweden.
He's Swedish, yeah.
Swiss man in the Northman.
Swiss man in the Northman. Yeah, like that. Personally, I think was my favorite performance.
Interesting.
So it's funny because he's like, there's bits in it where like he literally acts like an animal, but then there's bits in it where he's like solemn, he's quiet, he's reserved, but then he turns into an animal like literally in the next scene. So I feel like there was a lot of kind of
there was a duality,
different ends of the spectrum, which I thought was quite good. I do feel that type of role he's probably the type of role he's wanted to do for a while, because he's done a lot of, like, he's done the Tarzan movie.
That's savagery. That's loneliness.
I know, but like I feel like that's
Have
more.
Have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't seen
exactly,
it.
David.
But I just thought, like, I thought the movie was probably of all the movies we've seen, it was the most artsy fartsy.
Yeah, big time. What is it about?
So it's Hamlet.
Yes.
If you've seen Hamlet, if you've seen The
Lion King.
Now, to be fair, while I was looking it up, Hamlet is based on a legend.
Yeah.
A legend.
About this story happening in Iceland.
Yeah.
But they said, like, I think I read on IMDb, it's like they can't confirm whether William Shakespeare, like, saw it or not. I'm
yeah.
like, oh, really?
Exactly, yeah.
Very similar, but okay.
Yeah. But it's about, if you've seen Hamlet, it's a prince's father who's king of his of this area.
Mustafa, yes.
Yeah.
Mustafa? Yeah. Right. Who am I thinking of, the Will Ferrell character in Zoolander? Oops.
He gets killed by his uncle.
Scar.
And then he runs away, joins this kind of savage army, and then he ends up finding his way back to Iceland to save his mother and kill his uncle in revenge. So that's pretty much the story.
Yeah,
like,
very simple story.
Very simple. But it's the director.
Oh, Robert Eggers.
Robert Eggers.
Done The Lighthouse. The Vivitch.
The Vitch.
No, The Vivitch. There's two of these.
who it definitely puts his own kind of spin on it. It's based in and probably the best thing about this movie is just the locations and the whole cultural context of the time period. It's very unique. Something I don't think I've seen anything like that before. Like
Lord of the Rings.
It's not. It's different to Lord of the Rings. Like it's different.
Because you've been to New Zealand.
Yeah, I've been to New Zealand.
I've seen what it looks like.
But no, it's just like down and dirty. It's like what those actual times felt.
Yeah, it's
like.
just not a fun time.
Yeah, it is. It's a hard time. It's not one you would enjoy.
No,
watching.
although I saw a Letterboxd review which was, I would not thrive in Viking
times.
Exactly. Gary O'Brien, I'm a jester, baby.
You're a jester, yeah.
Making people laugh.
You're Willem Dafoe.
I'm Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Prancing about.
So I think that's the thing that stands out about this movie. If I was to kind of give it, like, if I was going to critique it, I think story-wise it's just a bit generic, but there's a few twists and turns in it which kind of adds to it. Some
supernatural elements that keep you...
But in particular, there's one scene where a real kind of supernatural element comes into it. I really enjoyed it. I wish there was probably a bit more of that in it, but the one thing is I don't know where it fits in.
Yeah, so my biggest thing about this movie is I don't know who it's for. It's very... like, do you pitch it as a Braveheart or like a 300 movie, or do you, this is probably more like 300 than anything else, or do you pitch it like a weird, wacky, historical, like a Green Knight in a way?
Yeah. Did you like Green Knight?
No, but I preferred it to this because I knew what it was.
Yeah.
Whereas this was just trying to, and also I was very grumpy watching this movie, so I know there was also that. But it was just like, the pace was a bit off, and there was exciting elements, but there weren't enough of them regularly. Yeah. And so I feel like it felt like the most, what's the word, like studio Hollywood version of Robert Eggers.
So this is the thing, from what I've read, is that it was a bit weird and wacky, and because the studio put a lot more money into this one compared to, say, The Lighthouse and the Vivitch, they obviously made a few changes. They asked them to kind of change it up a bit, because he had said that in a review, I think on Joe.ie, that he wasn't happy that didn't have final cut. Yeah. But I think he's kind of knows now that if he's doing these kind of studio films that he's not going to get final cut. So would it be interesting to see a director's cut of this movie? Yeah. With more kind of weird, wacky stuff?
Maybe, yeah. Could keep me interested. Yeah. Because the idea of it being a Robert Eggers movie, I'm all for it. But what I got was disappointing, because I feel like he could do more with it that I would find interesting. Yeah. Because it was more the bits going back to, like, there's bits where people are like dismembered in weird ways. I'm like, that's all very interesting, but there's not enough of it in a way. And don't watch it if you like animals, by the way.
Yeah, there's a lot of animals being killed.
Yeah. But yeah, Alexander Skarsgård is very good.
And that's the other thing. Like, all the performances I think are really good. Like, I would say, Anya Taylor-Joy is grand. I don't think she has a huge amount to do in it, but what she does have to do, she's quite good. Yeah.
Willem Dafoe, good as always.
Yeah, and he's that kind of side character, but even for the short amount of scenes he's in, he kind of steals.
The uncle's good. I don't know the actor's name.
I don't know the Ethan Hawke is good as well.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. I really like. There's one scene
Yeah.
where she kind of stands out for me
Because I thought she was going to phone it in.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
her accent's a bit weird though, but
All
I think
the
it's meant to
accents,
be though.
yeah.
All the accents are weird.
Well, it's this kind of twist on Nordic English. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really. I wouldn't worry too much about it. But no, like as you say, I think the biggest issue with this movie is it doesn't really know what it wants to be.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it for what it was. And of all the performances this month, it was the one that kind of stood out to me, just because it's such a wide spectrum of emotions and things like that. So
it's probably not my favorite Icelandic movie.
There you go. Yeah.
It's probably Eurovision.
Also, we got to see Eurovision performance in it. Do you remember that?
Oh, we did. We got to see Bjork.
Bjork, yeah.
My God, yeah, I forgot Bjork was in that. My God. Right, I got to contrast this up big time with my favorite performance of the month. I still don't know which we're going to give it to, but I'll see if I can convince you. Jim Carrey in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is incredible. Now, I'm very biased because I love Jim Carrey. How much? Because I'm using this episode of the Monthly Movie Awards to be a backdoor pilot to my month of Jim Carrey movies, a la the Brosnan O'Brien Birthday Bros Bonanza. So, I decided to do this for no reason, because other than I just love stress and just having not enough time to do things. So this month, here's the announcement, little fanfare. I'm going to do all Jim Carrey movies, or try to anyway. I've recorded one anyway, so there's a minimum of one. But I know what you're thinking, David. This has to have a good name, otherwise what's the point? Loads of notes. So I've decided to call this event because, how do you beat the Brosnan O'Brien Birthday Bros Bonanza? That's just great alliteration.
Yeah. And
you can't really how do you can't do alliteration with Gary or Jim or Kerry. You can make it rhyme. So I've decided to call this month of events the unnecessary and involuntary legendary visionary Jim Carrey library commentary done by Gary and a very wary honorary adversary for my customary birthday.
You have way too much time.
Yeah, so that's what I decided to call it. I'll think of a quick antonym or whatever though. But yeah, that's what I decided to call it. So we're going to go through all Jim Carrey's movies, and then what better way to
all of Jim Carrey's movies.
I'll go through all of them. How many we do on the podcast is a different story altogether.
Good man.
But Jim Carrey in this movie is phenomenal. It's a really fun movie anyway. It's got Ben Schwartz as Sonic, Idris Elba as Knuckles, James Marsden is back in his usual role of acting against a CGI character. Jim Carrey is back as Robotnik. Anyone else in it of note? There's some voice actress playing Tails who I forget. There's
who's the bloke that plays the sheriff at the
what's his name again?
That actor. I thought he was.
He's very good as well.
Yeah,
it's just great performances all around. Yeah. It's so much fun. We saw it at 2:00 on a Sunday, which is usually a very dangerous time to be going to cinema because it's quite noisy. But there was a lot of kids, which I didn't really mind because it was able to give me an idea of what kids would think about it. Yeah. They had a great time with it. There's a dance scene in it in the Alps where they dance to Uptown Funk. I thought it was a bit dated, but the kids had a great time.
It's on TikTok, guys.
Well, we'll get to fucking TikTok later. But or did you mean the app or the song?
No, I said the song is on TikTok.
Oh, the song's on TikTok, is it?
I don't know, is it? I'm not on TikTok. I'm just assuming something like that would be on TikTok.
I know, TikTok's a bit more up to date than 2014's Bruno Mars's Uptown Funk.
2014, oh Jesus.
That sounds about right, doesn't it? You say it with confidence. Anyway, but it's so much fun, and what's great is when the kids weren't laughing, the adults were laughing. So I feel like it's a great movie for everyone. Maybe I should put it as a green on the Instagram. Haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
But I don't think the movie doesn't work without Jim Carrey's performance. It is fantastic. It's probably not his best performance, but I think it's one that he's just given a lot of free reign to just be wacky and weird with, and I think every line he says and every joke he says is delivered brilliantly.
Yeah. So the thing about Jim Carrey is the first scene he's in. The movie opens with Jim Carrey, and I think that scene is fantastic.
Because in the last movie he got banished to some mushroom kingdom, and you see him in a mushroom kingdom.
Thought that was brilliant. I think him with the bits with Knuckles, kind of, you can tell it's difficult enough to act against CG characters. So that was the thing that stood out for me. It is difficult, but him. I do understand why you enjoyed this so much. It's just him. It is him just doing whatever he wants.
Just hook it to my veins, Jim Carrey.
And it's ridiculous. And he's in a big robot at one point, and he
gets possessed by a power, and it's just
he acts like a god. And
So just the plot of the movie, I guess, for anyone who's interested. First of all, the first one's very good.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised how good the first one is. I would definitely say stick it on. It's just a good, fun, it's not even, it is kind of kids movie, but it's not. It's Ben Schwartz and does a great performance as Sonic. And this one's all about Dr. Robotnik comes back to try and kill Sonic and get a magical crystal gem thing, and it's all about. And he's all of a sudden he's linked up with Knuckles, who is like his tribe is against the tribe that killed Sonic's mother, an owl or something. And as you can tell, the story's not very important. I just look the big speedy boy and the big Knuckles and the flying guy.
So in terms of the story, it's a bit like a one of those quests on a video game. Like and to be fair,
most successful video game movie of all time, by the way.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't think that's the most important bit about this movie. Like it is just performances. It is that kind of family element to it. I think is important as well. That Sonic kind of wants to find a home, and his friends kind of want to find a home as well, and stuff like that. So there is that nice element to it.
Yeah.
There's bits in it where it goes a bit over the top.
It's oddly paced. I would say there's definitely like one, if not two big set. There's one big set piece you can definitely take out. The second one is there's a weird human side subplot that by itself is very interesting. But just in the context of this movie, it's like
probably unnecessary.
Why are we worrying about this character?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a fun time.
But it is
great, and I hope he comes back for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. He said he's retiring, but he said that if he's coming back for 3, he wants to be in like the fat suit, which I just think
that would be fantastic,
brilliant.
That would absolutely be fantastic. Yeah.
So that's my vote for. Performance of the month.
Now I'm going to struggle to beat that.
So the problem now is we have to go to the producer, but I've been told
are there those are best two
no, we're going to go through all this, but I'm just because if we can't decide, it goes to the producer. Now I got a lot of stick last month when people were giving out that I was also a producer. So I've resigned as the role of producer, and what I've done is I've got this magical deer from the Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore. It's called a Chillin. We'll explain it later. But basically, it's the Chillin's job, and I'm not making this up. In the movie, Fantastic Beasts, Dumbledore's got a load of secrets now. It's this deer picks the magical president. So
Prime Minister.
Is it Prime Minister? I'm pretty sure it's President. Is it Prime Minister?
I mean, come on, it's
let's make sure we get this right, because I don't want people to think I've hired the wrong deer. So this deer, the Chillin, bows to whoever is true of heart, and that person becomes the magical president. So he was actually free this week. I've asked him to sit on in. He's very quiet. He's chilling over there, and he said he's going to bow to whoever he thinks is right about. Now we'll check in with him later on.
Okay, yeah.
But just so people know, I'm not going to be picking it. I'm shitting on the carpet. Fuck. Anyway, but yeah, other good performances this month. Is there any others that stand out to you?
I was gonna say Jude Law.
Jude Law and the Fantastic Beasts. What? The first one was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Then Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, and now
And then this one is Dumbledore has all those secrets.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Those Secrets.
And the crimes of Where to Find Them.
Secret Crimes of Grindelwald. Jude Law's very good in this Fantastic Beasts movie.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to talk too much about the movie at this point.
It a bit,
yeah. But just in terms of him taking up this role, he does his own thing, but he has that kind of stoic nature of what we've come to know about Dumbledore, not only from the books but from the movies as well. And considering, like, you look at Richard Harris and Michael Gambon, like, it's strange that those two had two different completely performances as the character, but all three of them seem to feel like the same person.
Yeah, which is surprising because Jude Law isn't dressed up like a weird drapey pointy hat wizard man.
Yeah,
he's a sharp looking dude.
He has these sweaters and he has a waistcoat and stuff. So you can just tell. Even there's points in a movie where he just has these lines. Like there's a bit where he's eating food and he's just like, that's really nice. That's just, and it's like,
he's a sweet man.
He's a sweet man.
Such a sweet
You'd
man.
love him to be your principal, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah. He's just a sweet character, and there's certain things in the movie where, like, he's kind of conflicted and things like that. So, and you can tell he's struggling with what he has to do, but he's always just good natured and stuff. And speaking of the Chillin, him and the Chillin have this kind of head to head towards the end of the movie. I don't want to say too much, but it's a nice moment. And the other performance just from that movie is Dan Fogle. How is this guy not getting more roles?
He's like the Muggle character, and they just find ways to write him into the script.
Yeah.
That he's just in every movie, but he's just so much fun.
Yeah.
And like,
and sometimes I do hate that comedic relief character, but I just think he's perfect,
so much fun.
and he's not taking things too serious, and he's the type of person that's like, this is ridiculous, and I shouldn't. I shouldn't be here, but you know what? I'm gonna give it a go. And I'd love to see him. I don't know what you would fit him into, but he's
get him in the MCU somewhere. Get him as
the Thing. He would.
No. It needs to be more. See, I can only imagine him with the New York accent now. That's the problem.
Yeah. Would he be a Spider-Man character? The Rot.
I don't know. Give it to Sony. They'll find someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he can be an El Muerto.
Funny. But yeah, and it's just the reason it stands out so much is because most of the time I think those type of characters just annoy me.
Yeah.
And he's just so enjoyable, and as you say, he's kind of unnecessary. And the other thing that makes him stand out is some of the side characters in this are unnecessary in themselves. Yeah. Like they're trying to put this team together, but like by halfway through the movie, I'm like, we don't know anything about most of these characters, and maybe it's just the fact that we've seen him now in 3 movies that you just like know what he's about and know that he's kind of kind-hearted and stuff like that. But I just had a good time with him.
Good time. There's only one more performance I want to just briefly mention. But maybe we'll talk about the movie later on, I don't know, is Nicolas Cage in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. He plays himself, or as the ad says, Nicolas Cage as Nick Cage, and it's a heightened fictional version of the character where he is going bankrupt and he needs to get money, so he a super fan of his hires him to come to his birthday party and read his script, but it turns out this super fan might have some connections with a criminal organization, and Nick Cage finds himself wrapped up in a CIA or FBI, I don't know which, plot to try and bring this criminal down.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's his best role, but it's probably one of the hardest he's had to play play yourself.
Yeah. Like you can tell just from interviews I've seen, I'd say it was a struggle because, as he says, playing a character that's completely different to you is probably easier than playing someone that's very similar, because you don't want to feel like you're taking the piss out of yourself. You don't want to feel like you're doing yourself a disservice or anything like that. But I think he did a nice role with it. There's points in it where it goes full kind of, as I would say, like Nick Cage.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like a made up character or a side character, and he only pops in every once in a while, which is good. But no, and there's only, I'd say there's very few people in Hollywood you could do this movie with.
Absolutely. And there's no other person.
And to be
maybe
fair,
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. I'd say Keanu Reeves probably would do it. Yeah. Because I was going to say, like, would Tom Hanks do this? It would be that level of actor probably wouldn't.
No. Yeah.
Wouldn't be happy to
see,
do it.
and I think we might talk about it a bit later on when it comes to, like, the movie as a whole, but there's kind of problems I had with it where I could see other actors maybe not signing on for it potentially.
Exactly.
But again, we can come to that later. But the last person also I want to talk about in this movie is Pedro Pascal.
Oh, he's fantastic.
So good. And I've been watching a lot of his videos promoting the movie as well. He just seems like such a cool dude.
I think he's gotten to that stage, I'd say, in his career where he's just like, sign me up for whatever, and he's just having a good time with it. And the two of them play off each other really well. Yeah. And you know what? I'd love to see them in a buddy cop movie now or something ridiculous like that.
I wish there was more pairings like that in Hollywood, because obviously we have Kevin Hart and
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah. But I wouldn't mind seeing more. Like, remember, like Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill? Like that was a great duo. Actually, another great two performances, just sneak them in here. Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock in The Lost City.
Yeah.
I didn't mention that in my up top. They were great as well. Like, a load of really solid performances. This, I think the movies as a whole this month were a bit lower quality. Yeah. But performances. But again, like, it kind of like ties into what you were saying earlier about this month being like more experimental movies.
Yeah.
Like, the movies themselves aren't good, but the actors clearly care a lot about them because they're maybe a bit more out there, that they can have more fun with them.
The other thing that came to mind, especially watching this one because I knew it was done during COVID, is, could it be a case that this movie was filmed at a time?
Is this Nick Cage movie?
Yeah. When actors, and maybe it works for The Lost City as well, is where, like, say the actors had such kind of a long stint without acting, and then they came to this and they're just like, I'm just going to actually give this 100%.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So
Rather
maybe
than
it was something like
project
that.
to
Yeah,
project.
exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of like, say, you can imagine if Nick Cage came to this after doing, you know, maybe 4 different roles in the previous few months, like maybe
I'll be exhausted.
yeah, it was just like and every day would be a struggle. Whereas I feel like Pedro Pascal, who probably hadn't done The Mandalorian, and he just came onto this and he was just like, I'm gonna give this socks, I'm gonna play this character real wacky, you know, he has this script, whatever. So that's again another thing that I think is playing off the whole COVID thing, is that you're getting these performances from actors who, again, have that kind of intensity and drive to kind of, you know, show what they can do.
Yeah.
I think that does work for The Lost City as well, because I mean, not that I've seen a huge amount of Sandra Bullock, but I thought in this she played that character. Yeah.
I've only seen 3 Sandra Bullock movies. I can't believe
You've seen Speed, haven't you?
No.
Oh, I thought you watched Speed.
I've seen
recently. Gravity.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very, very different.
Yeah, it is. One's in space. The other's on a bus. But let's actually tie this off because we're way over. Yeah, but just trust me, we'll have quick tangents on the others. Who are we giving it to?
No, I think Jim Carrey's fair enough, because I think we enjoyed that movie a bit more than Northman, between the two of us.
It's so stupid though.
It is
so stupid to give it to him.
Like, who did we give it to last? Colin Farrell.
We tend to give it to the sillier one, don't we?
Absolutely. That's
right. During this month, no less, of the involuntary and unnecessary Jim Carrey, legendary visionary Jim Carrey library commentary by Gary and a very wary honorary adversary for my customary anniversary, i.e. my birthday, I think it's fair to give it to Jim Carrey. Well, Jim Carrey, well done.
Yeah, congratulations.
It might be the last time he's eligible.
Well, yeah, if this is his last role, if he's retiring.
So, look, sorry, Alex.
Yeah.
Try harder.
You can do Tarzan too.
Yeah. Oh, yes. You have to watch that movie. It's so bad.
I see. I started watching it. I turned it off.
Yeah, it's very bad. Yeah. Oh, did you get to the bit where Christoph Waltz strangles someone?
I don't think I even got to the point where they got to the jungle.
Oh wow! Oh, is he doing all weird things with his knuckles?
Yeah.
Weird movie.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on. We can talk about Visible Garbage next, because that's kind of ties into 2 movies that we can talk about. One we just Visible Garbage next, isn't it?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. That's probably the best.
One is The Bubble.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is Visible Garbage. Visible Garbage, for anyone who doesn't know, is basically like a movie that maybe had a lot of publicity or a lot of hype, or
you'd see it on a bus.
You'd see it on a bus, or had a lot of potential. You're like, oh my god!
No, you wouldn't watch it on a bus. You'd see it on the side of a bus.
Probably prefer to watch it on a bus.
You'd see it on the side of a bus.
Why would you be on the side of a bus, David?
I'm just hanging on. I refuse to pay the fares.
$2.30 bro. Hook up. But it's also a movie with a lot of potential, maybe, and didn't really execute it. So The Bubble, I wouldn't really say so. I don't know why I have it in.
That's probably going to be in, and that's going
it's
to be.
It's going to be. Trust me, that's later. But another movie is probably Fantastic Beasts. Where the general consensus for this movie is it's not good, but I slightly disagree in that. I think the plot is all over the place. It's very murky. It's trying to like tie up a load of loose ends. It's trying to like write some characters out. Yeah. They started the franchise on a stupid thing of like, we'll call it Fantastic Beasts, and they have to find a way to put Fantastic Beasts into this movie. And then also there's the whole thing with Johnny Depp being recast. There's the whole thing going on with Ezra Miller at the moment. It's just very, very messy. However, I think some of the magical elements in like the magic fights, the magical beasts themselves. Remember that parachute one? Yeah. That was cool. There's really creative stuff in it. And I think if you're a fan of Harry Potter,
you'll love it.
You'll love it, I think. I had a great time.
This is the thing, like, I think this movie has been very harshly treated by critics. So I've listened to, like, reviews of it, and they're saying, like, oh, the visuals in it aren't great, and the world is... And I'm like, they obviously weren't watching the movie we were.
Yeah.
And, like... This is like when we went to see it, like we went in, we watched about halfway through, and then the fire alarm went off. We had to leave the screen and come back in. They had to rewind the movie about 10 minutes, and then we watched it again. So like that would have been just a perfect excuse to just be like, nah, I'm not enjoying this. But I just had a good time with it, and like I do agree that story points in it, like it's a little bit all over the place. It's trying to do about 12 things at once, but like in terms of, as you say, the world building, some of the visuals and some of the locations and stuff. I mean, that's some of the best thing I've seen in Harry Potter.
Absolutely.
Because like so much of Harry Potter is Hogwarts and then maybe like Diagon Alley, and literally like you're just going from one place to the other. Yeah. Whereas this is sprawling, and you're in or out. 10 different locations, which in one sense, I know it's kind of contradicting myself because it's so many storylines, but I just enjoyed that they have this world and we're like, we're going to spread this across the globe and just, we're going to have...
It's called Wizarding World.
Yeah, and we're gonna have a prison underneath the underground where you're getting attacked by a crab, or we're gonna go to Berlin and have the...
And where is it? They go to like Tibet then?
Yeah.
By the way, very scary movie.
Oh yeah,
very scary.
Yeah,
between like, animals being kind of murdered.
Yeah,
and then also just like a big monster killing people, but not even like maybe he just like flung them against the wall.
Yeah.
No, this monster just kills, straight up murders.
Oh no, he murders them, eats them, and then throws the remains back at the bird.
It's so fucked.
Yeah,
it's so, I couldn't believe it when I was watching it.
Yeah,
and again, I think it's kind of more like, is this for kids? Is it not? Like,
yeah,
I could see it maybe not reading well with kids because there's obviously a lot of maybe not mature, but just very like it's not, oh my god, I'm not gonna get enough points for Gryffindor this year kind of shit. You know what I mean? It's not
there's
like
some serious consequences
coming. There is other elements at play kind of thing. Like it talks about politics.
Yeah.
It talks about
there's some
relationships,
allegories in it towards the early 1900s. Hint hint. The Titanic, of course.
Yeah, I was trying to think of another historical event. The famine. So, sure, that's magic. They can get a load of bread and potatoes. Yeah.
There's one element in this movie where I just cannot understand why they didn't use magic.
Which element is that?
The suitcase. Do you know your one goes to the suitcase?
There's a scene where like Newt Scamander's got a load of animals in his briefcase, and they have to trick the evil wizards into thinking that anyone can have the briefcase, but then your woman brings it to like an actual like suitcase, muggled suitcase maker. It's like, give me 6 of these, please. And then it's just like, just magic spell.
Yeah, you couldn't duplicate that now.
Duplicate you. There you go, just did it there.
But see, maybe they would duplicate the insides as well. That's probably the issue. But again, it makes no sense.
That's a very... No, it's a fucking magical world.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to make excuses for this magical world.
What else is great about this movie?
See, we're not doing a great job of showing how this is visual garbage.
I think it's because from the context of what the Harry Potter movies did, this is not as good. Because the Harry Potter movies were all very clearly like there was a clear through line throughout. The characters that were in the first book remained the same throughout. Whereas this movie, brings in more characters. It tries to balance like the importance of the likes of Newt Scamander, Eddie Redmayne's character, with Albus Dumbledore. There's just so many. It's just very. It's not a good movie in the sense of like a plot, like an actual just by itself. But in terms of like production, visuals, like in terms of a story, it's not a good story. It's a very good.
Also, some social elements as well. We find out secrets about a certain character. Sorry, I'm actually leaning back there. Sorry.
No, Dumbledore's.
No, I know, but like they actually refer to it in here. Like
they don't though. Like they
I
do.
know. I'm absolutely like you can absolutely tell that they could cut this out. They for did Chinese. You can absolutely tell.
I think it's but like him and Grindelwald have like a.
But I just feel like imagine that for a young person who's kind of struggling with that. And it's just like it's being openly talked about in Hollywood.
I think Grace Randolph had said, our Lord and Savior, have to get that mentioned in. She was like, it's the first big franchise movie to have a main character be gay. I know they don't really go all the way with it, but like it's good representation. It's from the Harry Potter franchise, which has been tarnished a lot from what J.K. Rowling's been writing about. So I think I don't know if she did, I think she did the story for this and then someone did the screenplay. But the fact that I don't know, that's in there is good. But there's another movie that's what I consider to be the ultimate visible garbage for this month, which is Operation Mincemeat. You haven't seen it, and I do apologise. I'm going to do my Gary rant.
I'm going to actually leave the room now, and Gary's going to rant. A la Cheaper by Dozen.
Can I do a rant on this?
I don't think enough people have seen this.
I'll explain what this movie's about. So Operation Mincemeat is a movie with Colin Firth and Matthew McFadden, I think his name is, both notorious.
Oh, is he in Succession?
Yes, both notorious for playing Mr. Darcy, so it's hyped as the big Mr. Darcy team up. But basically, it's about this operation the British had during World War II to deceive the Nazis into thinking that they were going to invade Greece, but they were actually invading Sicily. And it's all about, there was this really intricate plot of like basically inventing a person. So they made like bank accounts, social security numbers, it made sure he was listed in a phone book. All this really interesting stuff that if the Nazis did any research, this man is real. And what they did with this man is identity is effectively dumped him into the ocean beside Spain, and the Nazis would then trust that the Nazi spy organization will find a briefcase that he has on him that says that the British are actually going to invade Greece. And it's all to do with it's all really interesting planning about how they go about it, like what they call it, wallet garbage or wallet trash, which is like what sort of thing should be in his wallet.
Cinema tickets.
Like, yeah, exactly. That's in it. There's a
like
love
that.
letter from his missus that like they make sure is crumpled a lot. That it's clearly a lot of thought in it.
Receipts and stuff.
Yeah. But what the movie decides to focus on is like a love triangle between the two major like general whatever the fuck they are and one of the like women working in the office as well. And it's all about like, oh, like maybe he has a lover. Oh, what's her name? And it's them like being romantically involved but not being romantically involved, but using the person that they've invented and his missus as like their love affair, while Matthew McFadden's character is getting all jealous, being like, oh, why they aren't planning without me? And I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, it's such a weird direction to take this movie, because it's not like it's an all-out romance movie, because it's obviously very heavily influenced by... It's like Valkyrie. You've seen Valkyrie, yeah? Valkyrie, great movie, horrible director. Yeah. But imagine just like that being the B-plot.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
Tom Cruise's character has some lover that...
Yeah, it's so But also Colin Firth has family. Like, he's a wife and kids that are off in America. Yeah. And he's not meant to be getting with this girl. And it's just... And then poor Matthew McFadden's single as a Pringle over there. And not getting any love.
So, I
haven't even got to the big part. But
The one thing I was going to mention is there in 2018 or 2019. Anyway, Dunkirk and The Darkest Hour came out. Those two movies came out, and funnily enough, they actually like link into each other really well. Like, you know, the speech at the end of The Darkest Hour is at the end of Dunkirk.
All the President's Men.
Yeah. And I feel like this would be a perfect chance to like add on to that kind of element of those World War II movies where it's espionage and it's you know, it's not all out kind of war movies like Saving Private Ryan. It's more kind of, but you know, the way you're describing it there, it was just a huge opportunity missed, and as you say, like potentiometer wise, you know, it probably loses
so much,
many
and great cast in it as well.
Yeah.
What's his name? He's from Lovesick. I don't know his name, but he's the guy who in that bad David Bowie movie. And like the really good cast. I forget who the director and the writers are, but burning hell. Dump them off the coast of Spain.
Can you tell, like, was it something that, like, there was a story there and then they decided to change it last minute, or was it just...
Oh, no, I'd say they were trying to, like, add a love story to a military operation. Oscar Isaac, is it? Not Oscar Isaac, what's his name? Isaac... Jason Isaac. He's very good in it. It's very, and though this is another thing with the movie as well. It plays it off as a comedy in the trailers. And you make it think it's not. None of the lines in the trailers that are meant to be jokey are played for laughs in the movie. So the tone is quite weird. And probably the most egregious and just personally offensive to Gary O'Brien, especially, is they include Ian Fleming. Ian Fleming was actually in the British Army, and he used a lot of his experiences there to influence the character of James Bond. But like he's not even important in the movie, but he just keeps showing up to say like, "Oh, Ian, what are you writing over there?" And he's like, spy novel," and he like picks up a watch and he sees it spins and he's like, "That's interesting." And I'm like, "Man, you didn't do that to Live and Let Die," which is the second book, so come on. But and just like don't put him in it. It's just it's
unnecessary.
And then there's a whole there's a whole plot about everyone in the army seems to be writing books at the moment besides Matthew McFadden's character. It's just like
they're all trying to get book deals out of this war.
Just like, what is this?
It's like people on I'm a Celebrity or something.
Or like in the Trump administration. But yeah, so I'm gonna give this visible garbage.
No, that's fair. Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I don't think Secrets of Dumbledore.
No, not at all. No, I just wanted to put it in that category because it could be deemed that, but I would strongly defend it that it's not. Yeah. But the opposite of a.
So that's our second award.
Yeah. Woo. Oh, boo! It's like, boo.
Go fuck yourself.
Go die in the Spanish Ocean or Spanish Sea. Let's talk about hidden gems, David.
Are you talking about the Mediterranean?
Yeah, but like whatever. I was saying to the Spanish coast because that's where they put the body. Such a stupid movie, but it was really interesting what they had to do with the dead body and everything. Anyway, it's fine. Hidden gems, David. I have three nominees here.
Go for it.
Apollo 10.5, The Bad Guys, and The Outfit.
Okay.
So funny enough, we haven't seen. David's seen 2 of them, and
Yeah.
I haven't seen them, and then the one I've seen, David hasn't seen.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of me.
David and me were very
explaining the
busy
plot.
this month, and we didn't see movies
Yeah,
together. We don't
yeah.
talk anymore.
We
That's
don't
the
talk
problem.
anymore. Yeah, I was gone for like 2 weeks. I never got back to Omniplex. Okay, so I'll start with the bad guys because I kind of decided to go see this just because I was away and I was like, I need to like up my numbers.
You need to pump those numbers.
Pump those numbers. So, and to be fair, it has really good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. This is a fun movie. Can you get the cast up actually? Because I know Sam
Hold
Rockwell.
on, I'll give him a call.
Yeah, I know.
Sammy, what's the crack? When are you coming back for
Iron Man 2?
Iron Man 2 character, the Hammer.
So I know Sam
What are you
Rockwell.
doing 4 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri?
Have you seen Moon? He's in Moon.
I see it every night.
He's in Moon.
Who we got? We got Sam Rockwell, Richard Ayoade, Anthony Ramos, Aquafina, Zazie Beetz, Craig Robinson, Mark Maron, Alex Bornstein, Lily Singh. I
think that might be it, though, is it?
That's it. She plays Tiffany Fluffett. Oh, they've got fun names, David. Professor Marmalade, hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm having a good time with this movie already.
So this is about all the bad guys. Bad kind of animals. So you have the big bad wolf, you have a snake, tarantula, shark, and piranha.
Very good.
And they're
I've
criminals and stuff. It's pretty much like Zootopia. The underground bad guys of Zootopia. You know that movie from 2016, or Zootropolis, is it?
It depends where you're from.
Yeah, it depends where you're from. And it's them doing crimes, whatever. This crime gang, and they've done all these big kind of heists and stuff. They've stolen all these works of art and whatnot. And they decide they're going to go good.
All right.
Or sorry, they get thrown in prison and they're told they have to go good or else they're going to prison. So Professor Marmalade decides he's going to be, he played by Richard Ayoade. He's going to be the one that works with them to try and make them good. And so on and so forth. It's kind of a little bit of head to head, and some people don't want to go good, some people want to change their ways and stuff like that. But really fun movie. I don't know what it is. I think it's like visual wise they did a lot of things that
What is this? Is this Sony?
I think it's DreamWorks.
It is DreamWorks. Yeah.
Like there's bits in it where like the first scene is them robbing a bank, and there's this really cool chase scene. It's stuff you don't really see very often and stuff like that. So like I would say this is a very much a family kind of kids movie, but there is elements in it where it's like good for adults and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's the case with always these movies where stuff goes over kids' heads and then you watch it later.
And like I mean I was having a good time with it, and the problem is when I go see a movie, I come out with an opinion, but it always has to be kind of validated. But all the reviewers I kind of watch on YouTube or listen to, like they didn't do any reviews on this, so I'm just
so you're kind of in the.
I'm just like, is this a good movie or not? And then, funnily enough, yesterday one of the guys on Instagram put up this thing. He was like, "This movie is hilarious and whatever." It was a good time. So obviously it is, and I don't know. I as I said, with the cast, with the story, like it's a bit like this heist movie, like a la Ocean's 11. Mm-hmm. Like there's different twists and turns, and good people become bad people become good. You know who's who. I just had a good time with it, and it's not something where I'm like rush out and see. And that was the other thing I was going to say up top. There's nothing this month where I'm like rush out and see it. I'm not saying people go out and see it, but it's definitely the type of thing where if it was on Netflix,
and
it's only you're bored, if you're bored, and I'm glad I went to see it because it's one of those things you probably don't see enough of, or we don't see enough of, because like just family friendly stuff like. Probably
we only see R-rated movies. No one's getting their heads chopped off. Not from me.
No, unless there's a Jim Carrey role. A best performance.
This is another thing. We need to decide what the name of the award is. Is it a Gazzy or is it a Brazzy?
Oh, it's a Gazzy.
Is it a Gazzy?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, Gazzy winning actor. Pierce
Brosnan has enough validation with
these
2 awards.
Okay. Just name alone. We probably don't see enough like family movies. So probably good. But I was just looking at the director. Hasn't really done much that I can see otherwise. But he's been an animating character design and animator like supervisor on the Kung Fu Panda movies, Shrek Forever After, Monsters vs. Aliens.
So he's in his wheelhouse.
It's animation. Stay with it.
Yeah.
But then I saw the writer, so it's based on a book.
I heard that. Yeah.
So it's based on the book, but the writer is Ethan Coen, but not the one you think. The one that keeps getting jobs because people think he's the other one.
Yeah.
But he's done like Holmes and Watson, Get Hard, Men in Black 3, Madagascar 2, Africa, Tropic Thunder.
He's the studio man.
Yeah, so they just get him in like, you're funny. Yeah. Get on in there.
But like, I don't even think it's like stuff written that's funny. It's just like those actors obviously just like we're in the sound booth and it's just like I'm gonna throw this line in and see what happens.
Yeah.
Aquafina comes out with funny lines. Richard Ayoade comes out with funny lines, stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a nice time. I wouldn't say it's not going to be anything I'm like you have to go see it. Even at the end of the year, I'm not going to be like it's memorable or anything like that. But definitely a good time. And considering it is kind of below the radar, it's probably a nice time if you have a family and stuff like that. So do you want to go on to the outfit?
I'll talk about the outfit.
Yours is far more serious than mine.
Yeah. Chicago, 1956.
It's actually
the Mafia.
My dad was born in 1956.
Well, where was your dad? In Chicago. One of the most annoying parts of this movie is that Mark Rylance keeps saying Chicago.
Chicago.
No, Chicago.
Chicago.
Like church.
Yeah.
Chicago. It's annoying as fuck. Maybe I'll give him worst actor. Mark Rylance is excellent in this. But basically, it's about a guy who owns like a tailor shop in Chicago. And
he, sure, Gary? Chicago?
It's Chicago.
Sorry, cut that.
But he owns his tailor shop, and he is he's just there. He's from London, or he's from like England, and all of a sudden there's like connections with the mob. You don't really know what's going on, and then one like this envelope, this like letterbox in the back of his store that people come in, drop stuff in, and someone comes and collects it, and we don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
But what happens then is one night, one of the gang members or the mafia members comes in with a gunshot, and Mark Rylance is there and has to like patch him up. But there's also like a whole like, how did they know where we were? Did someone rat on us? Like, and they're trying to figure out who it is, and Mark Rylance can't go anywhere. So it all takes place in the shop. So it's very isolating, and it's all one night. So it's very good. It's like an hour and 40 minutes. It's not like you have to go out and rush it. It'd be hard to watch at home because it is so like slow in a way. But like once things start getting revealed, it's quite interesting. Dylan O'Brien's in it. The guy who's the bad David Bowie and Ian Fleming is in it as well. Who else is in it? Zoe Deutsch is in it.
Deutsch,
so like it's great cast. Mark Rylance is excellent. I've really come around on him since Don't Look Up and Phantom of the Open. But yeah, it's a fun time. It's hard to say like definitely going to watch it. If there was a play version of it, I'd probably watch that because again it all takes place in the shop. And Mark Rylance very good. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. Like it's a very isolated story because it's kind of all like it's all in the fucking shop. That's the gist of it.
We're very sorry we don't have huge amount to say about these movies.
Yes. But like it's a hidden gem because I would have never gone to like I don't think I would have seen it with the Omnipass. I probably wouldn't watch it if it was on Netflix. It looks kind of B-rated, but it's very solid. I don't disagree. Like the writing and the acting and the directing, all very good. Well, like I did read a stat that like what's his face Mark Rylance spent like a week learning how to like stitch clothes and stuff like that. I'm like, he probably gonna just got like someone else to do those bits. But
Johnny Flynn, that's his name.
Johnny Flynn, yeah,
poor guy.
So yeah. Anyway, that's about it. It's probably not enough of a hidden gem for me to be like, my God, I can't believe people miss this. Go watch it.
According to this, it's on. Oh no, sorry. No, it's not on Netflix. Sorry.
No, Operation Mincemeat is on the 12th of May, so make sure you're busy the 12th of May.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch Spurs v Arsenal.
Yeah. No, it actually doesn't sound... So it sounds like it's part of a more interesting world. Like, if you imagine that was like a section of a movie where you actually got to see what happened to your man.
No, not really. No, because there's the way it all plays out, the less you know, the better.
Okay, fair enough.
Because you don't know how certain people... like what's going on with what's their backstory, are they telling the truth, are they not? So by itself it's have you
seen Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah,
a bit like that.
Does that take place in a clothes shop?
No, but
it's completely different.
But isn't it the same location, like, and you don't know what happens, like?
But is he British?
No,
Dave, I think you're talking about two completely different movies. Is Mark Rylance in that?
I think he was Mr. Purple.
Mr. BMG. Big fucking green.
No, do you know what? That does sound interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah. But again, like it's probably better as a play, maybe.
Yeah. It was on the Borgosh.
Borgosh, yeah, we'll go see the Borgosh. Right, go on. But you tell us about.
No, this one. Do you know what? This is the
10
one.
and a half.
Yeah, this is the one, and I can understand. This could kind of go either way with people because the animation style is very unique. So it's this type of.
It's interesting how you pronounce off-putting.
It's different, okay, and it's the type of animation where the people playing the roles look like the characters in the movie. So I don't know how they do it. It's obviously, I don't know if they're playing the characters.
I looked into it.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is rotoscoping.
Yeah.
Which is the actors act and then they animate over it.
Yeah, because there's a Keanu Reeves movie that's like this as well.
Ooh, is there?
Yeah, there's one where he's doing something, drugs or something. I can't remember anyway, yeah. Okay, so the first thing that stood out to me is just it is very unique and it's different.
It's on Netflix.
So to start, probably the best way to explain this is there's two types of movies that come out on Netflix. So one, big budget movies that the studio has no faith in doing well at the box office.
Triple Frontier.
Yeah. 600 grand.
600 grand.
Yeah. So there's those big budget movies that really don't have any right going into cinema because they're not going to do well. But then there's also these other kind of groups of movies where you can tell they're not going to get the budget to go into cinemas, but you can tell that either the director, the writer, whatever it is really passionate about the movie and just kind of wants to get it made. And obviously Netflix is just like, yeah, we'll give you, however million to make the movie. You can put it on Netflix. But this one is done by, I think, Richard Linklater.
Yeah. Boyhood.
Yeah. Who's done Days Confused, Everybody Wants Some, those type of movies. You can tell he grew up in the time period of the 1960s. So the first storyline is about this kid who ends up going on the Apollo 10.5 mission because they ended up building the where the astronauts sit, the shuttle, too small, so they had to get a kid to do it.
Of course.
And this
they couldn't just got like a shorter person.
No, but it was a secret mission before Apollo 11, before the actual Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins actually went to the moon. And
Michael Collins got to space.
Nice.
Not like a Liam Neeson movie about that.
And the first half of the movie is about him kind of talking about how him training for this. He was going to the moon, but you can't really tell if it's serious or if it's him just kind of daydreaming, whatever. If he's playing with his friends, but then there's a hard cut about kind of 20 minutes in where it just talks about his life in 1960s America. So all the things like, say, music, TV shows, all the things that would go on like in 1960s America, the Vietnam War, hippies, and you can just tell that it's obviously either the writer, director kind of grew up in that time, and it's kind of a love letter to that period and growing up in that period and all the things like.
Yeah, I don't like this movie.
No, you probably wouldn't, but I can imagine some people wouldn't. But I just thought it was a nice kind of. I do like when movies like movie. That. Yeah, it's
harmless, and it's written by Richard Linklater.
Yeah, there you go. And you can imagine he's probably born in 1952.
David, you couldn't be further off. He's born in 1960.
Okay, there you go. You grew up in 1960. There.
4 years younger than your father.
There you
I've
go.
learned so much today.
But it's just a sweet movie, and I would say if someone did grow up in around the 1960s, they would enjoy it. They would.
Yeah, I thought you were saying was listening. I'm just like.
No. I mean,
we're yet to crack that demographic, David.
But I would recommend to my dad if he wants to, kind of reminisce about that time.
But it's almost like you do that, but yet you make it animated, which I feel like people of that generation won't watch an animated movie.
But like, are you gonna get the budget to make all those sets of like 1960s America? No. Yeah. So
I'm not giving a solution. I'm just giving problems.
Exactly. But no, I just thought it was unique. And again, like, if this was on cinema, don't go and see it. If it's on Netflix, like. Yeah. Watch it for a bit and see how you like it. Again, you're not a very sentimental person, Gary. You're a hard-nosed prick. You prefer a...
It's weird how you pronounce legend.
That's your new thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm liking that. That's all of it there. But... Yeah, also, like, there's sometimes when you come home from the next morning after a night out and you're kind of, like, not sure if you're going to get sick or not, and you sometimes need to really get sick, just stick this movie on. You'll instantly feel dizzy and nauseous. I'll be like, God, time to clear the old gullet. No, the animation's fine. I'm just taking this.
But and obviously it's kind of built around NASA going to the moon.
Cool.
That's
yeah, we're giving a hidden gem. I think it's a good hidden gem because
it is perfectly defined as a hidden gem because it's that type of thing that even I didn't know about it. It was just popped up on a letterbox list, and I was like, oh, that's on Netflix.
Oh, there we go. There's our next Gazzy.
Who do we get to pick that up? We'll get Zachary Levi.
Oh, absolutely. The Gazzy goes to Jim Carrey then if he has to pick that up. You can fuck off. The children. I don't give a shit about the children right now.
Jack Black is the narrator. I forgot to mention that.
I heard that in the 30 seconds I watched. And then who are we getting for Operation Mincemeat?
Colin Firth? Johnny Flynn.
Johnny Flynn over here. You're like, pretend you're...
We love Lovesick.
Oh, we love Lovesick. Go watch Lovesick. Yeah. That's a great movie. That's on Netflix
great
as well.
Series, yeah.
Watch it instead of Apollo 10.5. Right, let's talk about... speaking of Netflix, we'll keep this train going.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our Poovie of the month, which I'm actually going to tie into where the Pierce Brosnan Award for Incompetence in Acting. Which is...
Oh, we're doing a 2-in-1. Wow.
Yeah, there wasn't bad performances. There might have been bad writing this month.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of... I don't know if it was the writing of the actors, but the performances in this movie are not good. Just phoned in.
Yeah.
Just nothing... There's one actor who's great. I actually don't know his name, but he's English, and he's given a lot to play with.
Yeah.
He's really funny.
Yeah.
But like Keegan Peele, like Pedro Pascal's interesting in it. The woman, I forget her name. She was in Borat 2. If you want to get that up for me, she's in it. Yeah. But like when you compare this role versus Borat 2, it's miles apart. Leslie Mann's in it. David Dubrovnik. Like this really solid cast, but like just such a garbage movie.
So the thing about this is
Fred Armisen.
It's like
Peter Serafinowicz.
There's no one likable in it. There's no one where you're like, oh, I can understand that because you're just kind of all stuck up down hole. And Maria Bakalova.
Oh, Bakalova, yeah. So it's a movie about, just to explain it, is a movie about actors who have to go into it's all set during COVID and they're trying to shoot a movie, like a big franchise movie, Cliff Beast 6, and it's about how they have to go into isolation in this hotel to stop the spread of COVID and,
make this movie,
but like outbreaks keep happening so they have to go back to isolation and stuff like that. It's a great movie for 2020. Not so much February 2022.
Yeah.
And the movie kind of touches upon like how difficult it is to make a movie during COVID times and how difficult and challenging it is. And there's even a line said by the director of the movie being like, oh, people can't go harsh on us. They know we made this during COVID. I'm like, don't tell me I can't hate your movie.
Yeah.
I can hate your movie. Do I hate this movie? I don't hate this movie.
I hate it. I just think it's the worst type of... It's the worst type of movie.
Oh, I let the hate flow through you. Yes.
No, like, it actually is the worst type of movie because it's like... as you say, throughout the movie, they just try and push this off as something like, isn't it funny, how actors do this or, rich people do this.
Yeah.
Like, we all have to do the exact same thing, but you're up in this, 7-star hotel or 7-star resort, getting paid millions, and you're still not happy.
Yeah.
And, you get to do this and I can understand, sometimes, acting probably is difficult, but, everyone hates their job.
Yeah.
So, get over yourself.
Yeah. And it's like, oh my God, when you consider that some actors that work harder, who are on, Broadway and shit like that, and they can't act at all because their profession is fully out of business. But you stay warm in that hotel.
Yeah, exactly. There's a TikTok. There's a whole TikTok
too many
thing.
TikToks in it. There's a character who's like an influencer, and she's only hired. It's a commentary of Hollywood movies these days, but that can get fucked. But
and then there's a whole thing with the studio. The studio's trying to interfere and trying to take over, and it's just you're literally picking out all the worst parts of Hollywood, and you're just putting it up there for everyone to see.
Yeah, but isn't it funny though?
It's not funny. It's not.
What?
There's nothing funny about it.
It's a comedy movie.
I was gonna say to be fair. No, not to be fair. This movie, considering the talent you have,
Judd Apatow.
Yeah.
Who I don't love all of his stuff, but he's done good stuff.
But he's done good stuff. Yeah.
This is bad.
It's terrible. And considering Pedro Pascal in The Unbearable Weight.
Oh, versus this. I hope he got paid more for this.
Probably did. Netflix
Yeah, that's what I mean. But he comes out the least harmed from it.
I haven't seen David Duchovny in a much, but I thought he was terrible. I thought, Iris Apatow. You haven't mentioned nepotism, Gary.
Just in general.
Yeah.
What do you thought?
You usually mention it's usually the first thing.
She is actually an actress, I will say. So, give her credit there. But, I don't know who you get for it instead. To be honest, I'd much rather someone, I'd much rather her be like, Dad, I don't want to do this. And he goes, well, you're my daughter, you have to do it. Rather than like him being like, passing over a much better actress for the role. Because I think she did a grand job for what she was given.
Yeah,
she wasn't given a lot.
Leslie Mann, terrible. She was so annoying. What was her accent in the actual movie?
Oh, yeah. Karen Gillan's in it.
Yeah.
Be in better things.
Yeah,
Karen
I know.
Gillan.
Keegan-Michael Key, like, I mean, why is he signing up for this?
Money. I feel like it must be a money gig. Because none of them have really had a big project recently.
It looks like they literally just took, like, everyone who was out of work at that time and was just like, do you want to be in this movie?
It's just not good.
Do you know what? I thought Kate McKinnon was actually alright, but she's not in it very much.
She plays a director on Zoom, so she probably got paid $50,000 for 2 days' work.
Yeah.
As
you say, Harry Trevaldwin.
Who?
He could be. This is the English guy.
Oh yeah, he's very funny.
He could be Welsh. Hold on.
Well, we don't want to piss off our Welsh fans.
He is.
I'll never be able to go back to Cardiff.
Oxfordshire in England.
That's in England.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Sounds like it. Because I was going to say that doesn't have enough more consonants than like more Y's than any other band.
I love Peter Serafinowicz.
But see, do you know what? I reckon this movie was probably a lot of fun to be on set because some lines Fred Armisen was doing and some of the shit he was doing, I guarantee you people were like busting their shit laughing on it, but it just didn't translate at all.
But like when I heard the concept for this, it could have been something so much better. Not even. Why? I think it could have been.
Like they were making jokes about like, oh, the nose swap's going too far up. I'm just like that's the cheapest joke. Yeah. There wasn't anything like then that was obviously the mandatory like, oh, someone has COVID, but they don't think they have COVID. Like It's Always Sunny did that last season. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway,
you're right. It should have came out in 2020.
That's what I was like. It's perfect for 2020. Yeah. Horrendous.
Should have had that.
Probably cost far too much money.
Yeah.
Anyway, that gets the POV of the month.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And in terms of bad actor, I really don't like giving it to a bad actor. Like, I'm trying to think because
I'd say Leslie.
Just Mann. The cast.
I'd say just the cast of The Bubble.
Cast of The Bubble. Yeah, I much prefer that. Yeah. Okay.
No, we're not even going to pick out anyone.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Just the cast.
Just write we'll write the bad cast in The Bubble. Yeah. Okay, right. Let's keep this moving.
That's the end of that.
Yeah, boo. Right. Let's talk about. Have we talked about every movie roughly now? Haven't we? I think so. There's maybe one we haven't really gone into big time. But yeah, let's the big cheese movie of the month.
Movie of the month.
Yeah, a lot of good. Like again, this was hard because I couldn't really think of
no standouts.
We
haven't talked about The Lost City.
Yeah, I know.
I think that's.
I'm saving it. Though.
Okay, that's
saving it for movie of the month. So The Lost City is a movie with Channing Tatum, Sandra Bullock, Daniel Radcliffe, an actress's name I forget, an actor's name I forget,
another actress. Oscar from The Office.
Yeah, Oscar from The Office. It's a movie about a romantic novel author who is struggling to think of an idea for a new book. She eventually writes it because she uses some of her husband's previous work as an explorer, archaeologist to write a novel, and there's a big...
You forgot Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt's in it as well. I think the movie forgot Brad Pitt too. No, and it's... Yeah, and then so there's like, she has to go on a press tour. She's very reluctant. Her husband's passed away, so she's still kind of like mourning and like trying to get back into society. And what happens is on these press tours, she tends to get overshadowed by the cover model played by Channing Tatum. Yeah. And he kind of hams it up because like this is his gig, everyone knows him for it, all the girls love him for it. And what happens then is Daniel Radcliffe plays like a son of a billionaire, kind of very much like the Murdochs is what I gathered. Yeah. And he's trying to find this lost city and prove that he's the better son because he's the older brother and his younger brother is being given the multimedia company, whatever. So he discovers that the novel that Sandra Bullock has written actually has clues to the lost city. Yeah, so he kidnaps her. Life, kidnaps her and brings her to an island to help him find this lost city, and then it's up to Channing Tatum, her agent, her assistant, to find her and bring her back, and they do enlist the services of one ex-Marine, Brad Pitt, to help as well. I had a fucking phenomenal time with this
this is a fun movie, and it's
so much fun.
It's a great time.
I went to go see it in Omniplex with it was like a preview screening for OmniPass members. So there was a lot of people there that really wanted to see it, which I thought was quite good, where it wasn't people just like chancing their arm with it. Yeah. So there was like all the scenes got big laughs.
Good atmosphere.
There's real good buzz in the cinema about it, because it was one of the first movies they've done a preview for as well. And yeah, it's a bit of a generic story. It doesn't do much for the franchise, or not franchise, but for the what's the word? The
genre.
The genre, yes, exactly. But I think the performance is good. Channing Tatum's great in it.
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock, I haven't seen her in much, but I think she does a good job with this. Brad Pitt's excellent in it.
Yeah. They kind of do that switch of she is the kind of grumpy archaeologist type Indiana Jones, and he's the kind of damsel in distress almost.
And yeah, like I said, I was saying this to you yesterday, it's a great role for, I don't know what age she is, but I'm going to say over 50. Is that not mean to say?
I'd say she's in her 40s.
Sandra Bullock. She's 57.
Whoa.
Exactly. Anyway.
Fair play to her.
So, for a female comedy, or for a comedy with a leading female character in her late 50s, that's great, because we never fucking see that. And sadly, they tend to not be very good. Yeah. So for this one, it was great. And like Channing Tatum doesn't steal the thunder. It's all in support of Sandra Bullock's performance as well. There's also some great supporting characters in the agent, the assistant, and then someone else they find along the way. They're all like really good at what they're given. Daniel Radcliffe, he's clearly having a lot of fun with it. I wasn't completely sold on it because, like I said to you yesterday, I just can tell he's acting. But he's having a great time with it. It's just a lot of fun. It's my number one recommendation for the month. I feel like anyone could watch it. It's just like, you just stick it on and you have fun. It's a good couples movie. It's a good, like, you know, action movie if there's like, you know, the lads want to watch an action movie in a way. And if it's a good, like, chick flick in a way, it can be perceived that way too. I just think it's a 4-quadrant pleaser.
So I agree with absolutely everything you've said.
Come on.
Unfortunately, the marketing for this movie ruined it for me.
It's funny that that's how you pronounce you loved it.
It's just like
3 and I'm out. Got me with 3, I'm done.
It like, and you will agree with me that like the trailers ruined the first half of this movie.
Yeah, like Brad Pitt is like somewhat of a reveal in the movie, but like if you didn't know he was in this movie, it would have been
hilarious,
mind blowing.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like having seen the trailer, and like I'm not the type of person who watched like every single trailer. Like,
no, you're very good for not watching trailers.
Yeah, and like, but I would have just seen stuff that was on in the cinema. Like the first half of this movie, I knew everything that was going to happen up until the leeches scene. And to be fair, the leeches scene was probably a little bit extended to what was in the trailer, but
although didn't I tell you what was going to happen happened?
Yeah.
Called it
exactly. Yeah. But no, I absolutely agree with you in terms of like great time, enjoyable, not too serious. It's nothing that you're going to strain yourself too hard or too much. But it's just a fun time. And I think, you know what, you say it doesn't do much for the genre. I think just the ending is a little bit of a switch up in terms of what they find in the Lost City. So no, I absolutely agree with you in terms of like it's just a good time. Enjoyable, and it's. Do you know what? I'm actually looking at the cast here. It's actually a real kind of condensed cast.
Yeah, not a lot of people in it.
There's only seven or eight.
Compare that to the Bubble, which had far too many cast members.
Exactly, yeah. There's far too much going on.
I feel like they won't want to accept their Gazzy.
Who? Oh, the cast, the whole cast.
I don't want that many people coming.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Just get one of them.
Who do we get?
I wouldn't mind chatting to Karen Gillan. She's good crack.
Yeah, Scottish. But no, absolutely great time. Absolutely great time in terms of like there's some action bits in it as well. There's a bits with a bike and a moped as well.
Action as well.
Yeah. Really, really good. Unfortunately, there's bits with CGI which I thought was a little bit kind of phoned in. But you know what? Look, I mean, that's not going to make or break this movie. No. Like, it's not going. You're not going to be thinking about that when you're going home. So, no, absolutely agree. And I think this is probably the best month for it to come out. Like, I feel like it will get a bit swamped in June, July.
Not May. There's nothing in May.
I don't know. Yeah, no, there's nothing in May really. Yeah. But no, absolutely, I'm absolutely going to agree with you there in terms of movie of the month.
Oh wow, we're going for movie of the month.
Yeah, like you've turned me around on it. It's difficult enough to go for anything else. Like I was going to say The Northman, but as you say, it's not for everyone.
You couldn't even watch it at home. I find it'd be such a hard Netflix watch.
The Northman.
Yeah.
No, and the other one I was going to say is I had a better time with The Unbearable Weight, but the only thing was I hadn't seen any trailers and there was just more surprises in that.
And I think with me,
more memorable scenes for me. Like
that's true, but I think in terms of a delivery from story from A to B, it falls apart.
Oh yeah.
And I just think I just need potential. Like, you served up so much potential with that movie.
Yeah.
And it was always going to be hard to deliver.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like even what they did wasn't, like, I was just like, oh, they didn't even, like...
They didn't make it onto a Con Air.
John had a great review, actually. Here's another reason to get Letterboxd.
That needs to be given a shout out.
John Hackett. He's down as... One sec. Hold on. So John _Hack on Letterboxd. He's going to probably hate that I did this. But his review is, you can't cage this rock of a man. Seeing him face off against himself is a treat and leaves you Con Air templating the movie itself. Ghost Rider. Did you see my comment?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give myself a shout out.
Go for it, yeah.
What a kick-ass review. It's great knowing...
Yeah, the knowing.
That you're clearly quite the national treasure when it comes to this. I'm simply moonstruck. You're never going to be... You're never one to roll a snake eyes. Otherwise, I'd be gone in 60 seconds by leaving Las Vegas. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This is better, but I want people to know that I put the effort in. That was probably some time when I was thinking of the Jim Carrey thing. Okay, we're giving the Gazzy to movie.
You know what? If the award was best sequence in a movie, it would be the dropping acid scene in The Unbearable Weight, but I'll give it to The Lost City.
Okay, right.
You win on both fronts, Gary. I know it's your podcast.
I feel like I have.
I know it's your podcast.
We can ask the chillin' if you want, but it's eating the couch.
The chillin's gone.
The chilling has left. Right, we'll wrap this up super quickly. May, there's nothing in May.
There's loads in May, Gary. How dare you?
There's a load of Jim Carrey movies that people can rewatch from my podcast. Other than that, there's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Look, what's more to say about that? Let's see what happens. Let's see what cameos are in it. It's only 2 hours. It's just going to be interesting. Sam Raimi, the original director of the Spider-Man trilogy, who could go either which way.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect, man.
Who knows?
What's the one cameo you want to see in it?
What would be? I'd love something from X-Men. I assume we're going to get that, but do we get a Hugh Jackman? No, Hugh Jackman won't come back.
Hugh Jackman's 1000% in it.
Really?
That's not even I haven't heard of it. 100% he's doing it.
Yeah,
you can't stop that man.
Let me think of a weird one. Hold on.
I'm saying Nick Cage as Johnny
Blaze.
Yeah,
that would be pretty good.
Wouldn't it be? There.
I'm trying to think of a weird one.
Who's this weird looking witch man?
Chris Evans as the Human Torch.
See, that's what I want. I want him as the Human Torch and as Captain America.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Or Howard the Duck. No, we have Howard the Duck. No, but the weird puppet version.
Yeah.
Or who else? Yeah.
The cast of the Fantastic Four from the 94 movie.
When he Arrested Development to buy his few cake. What else we got? We've got Father Stew. Who knows if that's coming out? We thought it was coming out this month. It did not. Yeah. Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Did you watch the trailer for that?
I watched the trailer, yeah.
It looks interesting.
Andy Samberg
and John Mulaney.
John Mulaney, yeah.
It's all about them as real people, but it's like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit universe where animation and real life are the same thing. But there seems to be a lot of crossover. There's like Jimmy Neutron Easter eggs, and like they seem to have gotten agreements from a load of different companies, which is interesting because that's owned by Paramount.
Yeah.
Aha, the movie. Sorry, Aha, the movie. 20th of May.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that as well.
Bob's Burgers movie.
Yeah.
I've watched a few episodes of it. It's gas. And then Top Gun Maverick. Never seen Top Gun.
What about everything? Everything.
Oh yes, I have it in my notes. It's everything. Blah. You know what? No, it's everything.
Yeah. I'm very interested.
Yeah,
in that.
that's gonna be that. I'm way more excited for that.
Now, to be fair, I think the issue with that movie is that it's been hyped up so much that it might not live up to expectations. But I don't really know what my expectations are. I haven't seen a trailer or anything for it.
Neither have I. Yeah. So it's all about... I won't tell you what it's about.
I heard there's taxes in it.
Yeah, it's something to do with a woman who is at the intersection of a multiversal shift in time. And it's just, she's an ordinary woman who has to deal with time falling around her and stuff like that, and multiverse. And I don't know if that's right. Again, like yourself, I'm trying to stay away from it, so I don't know. Yeah. But look, I'm probably most excited for Doctor Strange because of what's going to come out of that. But everything about is like a big movie.
I would be more excited for Doctor Strange if it was longer than 2 hours.
Well, see, this is my thing. I was telling you about this yesterday. Whereas, like, I just feel like the cameo is going to be super quick. Like, Marvel movies tend to be only 2 hours. They don't really creep over to 2.5. I know Spider-Man did, but that's Sony. They're just like, like this is Kevin Feige. He's like 2 hours, be able to play all day, make shit to the cash.
Yeah, fair.
So,
well, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
It's April.
It's next week.
What do you mean? No, so this comes out the 3rd of May.
Alright.
So.
Yeah, no, sorry, this week. It's coming out on the 6th, isn't it?
Oh, Multiverse. Oh, yeah. We're seeing it on Thursday.
Yeah.
Potentially. So that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the podcast.
That's the podcast.
Those are our gazzies.
Yeah.
I hate that it's about me.
If you disagree with any of our our decisions,
let us know. If you think
we'll take none of them into consideration.
Yeah, I love that I managed to shut out the Northman from all awards.
Yeah, like I agree with you there that it's very difficult to recommend it.
Yeah.
Or to So yeah.
There we go. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. We hope you enjoyed. If you can follow us on Instagram, get on the Letterboxd. We want those 5 stars, and stay tuned.
Jim Carrey, baby.
Jim Carrey's back. He's being a buffoon. He's not an Eggman. He's a madman.